Okay, welcome everyone. This is really exciting. We had a little bonus little assignment. It's called Before and After, and some of you folks chose to do it, and there's a couple I think that haven't done it but want to join in and see what this is all about. So we're going to go through and do a quick introduction for everybody here just to say hi, and I've met every one of you. You folks are fantastic, and I think we've got a really great cohort. We do have Laurie Excell who's joining us today. And Laurie is a wildlife photographer. She's a professional photographer, has written several books and does workshops, and it's just such a pleasure having her join us. She's actually on a fast track to be one of the Arcana Masters, so it's a real pleasure to have her joining us today. So hi, Laurie.
Hi, Laurie. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting me crash your Hangout.
Notice we have our name spelled correctly. This is the correct way to spell Laurie, by the way. Just,
yes.
you know.
Yes, there's not that many people that know the right way.
That's right, yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll talk. Brittany as an aspiring pet photographer. Awesome. She's actually gotten a job, right, to photograph some dogs. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I've got. I had my first client on the 20th, which I'm really excited about.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Good for you. Congratulations.
That's really great.
Thank you.
We've got David here, who's been a real great contributor to this group. And David, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're here in the States, right? If I remember correctly. Oh, you're in Canada. Okay, great. Okay.
Kind of like the States, but more polite.
Okay. Where's your cat?
The cats are actually outside. It's sunny here today, so they're out doing what cats do in sunny weather.
Okay. All right. Great.
Pretty much what we do in quiet weather, just outdoors.
That's great. We've got Dodge with us today, and Dodge, you are a lawyer. Is that correct?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is your fun time to get in, be creative, and kind of get away from the hectic life of being a lawyer.
Right. It's definitely a stress reliever hobby for me.
I think for all of us. Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks for joining us today, Dodge. Great to have you with us.
Thanks.
And Jayne is with us as well. Jayne, you've got a puppy in your lap. Who's this?
This is Rufus.
Rufus. There he is. Very cute. Let's see Rufus. Hi, Rufus. It's so funny, Laurie, when I was doing critiques, almost everybody had animals somewhere. Either horse pictures on the wall or dogs or cats. We're all animal people, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I've got them on my wall, and who knows, I locked them out of the room. Otherwise, they'd be up here on the keyboard.
Yep. Yeah, look at Laurie's bears. They're fantastic. She's such a great photographer. Really nice. Okay, and then there's Tricia, and you can see her horse images behind her as well. So she loves photographing horses and getting out there in nature. Great, great photographer. So this is great. In fact, Tricia, did you know that Trey used your blog post? It's actually on the Arcanum. The blog post that you put about our group.
They mentioned they were going to maybe use it for something, but I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So
I'll have to share it. It is up on the Arcanum. I ran across it the other day, so I'll share the link with everybody. I think that's really awesome. So Tricia did a nice blog post about our Arcanum and the experience, and so Trey actually put it up on the Arcanum website. So that's fantastic. So thank you for that.
It's excellent. I've seen it. Way to go.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here, let's do a little screen sharing, and let me find it. It should be right here. Let me know if you can see my screen as soon as it comes up. There you go. So Catherine, we just finished with a one-on-one critique with her, and she's not able to join us tonight, unfortunately. If we have time, I'll go back to her since I'm trying to record this, and we'll give a little critique on hers. Now, these befores and afters are basically really fun. We're just talking about what you did in camera and also what you've done post-processing and maybe a few suggestions. So I'm going to put Laurie on the spot again. She's got such great suggestions. So we'll take a look at some of your images here. And everybody pop in and talk about it, whatever you want to. Now, David asked if he could include a portrait, and I said, sure, that'd be great. And then I'm just kind of scrolling through here so you can see Brittany's got her ducks. Carrie has dogs. Mandy had some things. There's Dodge. We just make sure we got Tricia. Okay, so why don't we just start at the top here? And I'm going to go ahead and click on, I asked them to post before and after images. Tricia, why don't you tell us, this is your after image, but let's look at your before image first. Oops, sorry about that. And tell us about some challenges that you had with this particular image and what you tried to overcome.
The fences are really, they had a lot of fences at this facility, so I had to kind of work around them and try to shoot in the gaps. And for this image, I had a small area to work with, and I tried to get her head behind as much foliage as I could, so I wouldn't have to clone as much. And so I ended up, the way I've always done it, or I was taught early on, was to use the clone tool, and also in Photoshop to use the content-aware fill. So I went back and forth using those until I kind of got something that was close. And then I did use some of the vignetting to darken the rest of the background.
Okay, so I'm going to switch over to your after. So it looks like you cropped in nice and close, helped to get rid of some of that. And so the cloning, was it happening up in this area here? I'm trying to see.
That area and to the left of her head.
Okay, so let me go back. Oops, I keep wanting to click here, but it's actually down below. Let's click. Okay, so we can see some leaves were filled in around the gap with the fence, and then up around her ears, up on the top right-hand corner. Okay, I see
I
that.
took the leaves from the right-hand side and put them on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Trying to keep the same, same depth of, foliage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I see a little bit of, I don't know what this is here. Maybe it's a little bit of blurring. Just be real careful about that if you're going to pick parts that kind of don't look identical.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, your idea of filling it in is very good. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll add kind of a dark vignette around the top here to kind of push that back a little bit. But, actually, Tricia, I really love how you got close up. This cropping actually gives you more of a connection to the lion this way. So I think that's a really good solution to that. Yeah.
I agree, and you did a great job of removing the fence. She's right about watching that you don't get repeating patterns. And I love how you darkened it down. I mean, it brought out a lot of detail and color. So
yeah, really nice. Yeah, good eye connection too. Really nice. What do you other folks think about this? Any thoughts?
She did an awesome job.
Yeah, very good. That's one of the biggest challenges. Yeah, with the zoos is having the fencing and cages and glass. It's such a challenge. And so sometimes we have to overcome that. We don't want the man-made things in our pictures. So often, Laurie and I were just helping Catherine with her critique. And one of the things we had offered as a suggestion is, photographing something where you have a little bit of area here so that you can crop in. Laurie made a good point that if this lion moved, you would have some room, if it was moving off the frame. So this is actually good, Tricia, that you kind of got this big area here, and then you can go in later and crop it in a little bit tighter. But I really do like this nice connection. You can see that immediately that you're really brought much closer to this lion. So I love that. I think that's great. Okay.
Yeah, just one for me. I wouldn't even know that this was at the zoo, and I think that's a huge testament to the work that you did on it.
Exactly.
Thank you, Doc.
Mm-hmm. Great, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I have a question about the zoos, though. Is there a way to shoot, like some of the pens had double fencing? Is there any way to shoot double fencing?
Is it double fencing in front, or are you talking about fence in the front and in the back?
Double fence in the front.
Ooh. Well, you know what? I would just put your, with the lens hood, as close as you can to that wiring of the fence and try to shoot through it. I don't think it'd be much different than if it was a single fence, and if the animal's far enough away, you still might be able to shoot through it.
Right, you can be focused through it, like Laurie said. If they're far enough away, you may get a slight haze.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Double fence if they're offset just enough, but you should be able to pull that back out with some, contrast or some detail extractor,
right.
Total contrast, something.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, Dodge, did you post, it may have been you that posted a really nice video of how to get rid of fencing? Was
He's
it David
Actually,
or David?
Yeah, that was one from Glenn Dewis.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So actually, this is a great video that actually talked about how to get rid of some of that fencing. So thank you for doing that, and I posted it up on, or he shared it up on our cohort, so you can take a look at that. But that's also a good solution as well. So yeah, very good. So Tricia, great job. Thanks for sharing that with us, by the way. Really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at Dodge. Let's see. I'm going to take a look at the very first one. I think this is the before. Or maybe this is the before. Oh, there we go. Here's before. So it looks like it was shot in civil light or a little bit late. And then here's our after. Oops. See, I keep wanting to do that. I'm sorry, you guys. I can't tell whether to go front or back. And this is after, which is much more striking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this image. What's the story behind this?
So this shot is actually, I have a little rooftop patio at my house, and so I'm standing on that. And it's one of my favorite places just to be and hang out, and I love to take photos up there. I had just watched James Brandon's video in the Arcanum about how to drag in multiple car trails,
Mm-hmm.
and so I wanted to give it a shot. And a few challenges with this photo. One was really wanting the car trails to stand out, but at the same time having enough of the sky lit up. Because to really get the streak of the car trails, I had to wait until it got a little bit darker. And then the other thing that I really wanted to kind of overcome is just all the kind of the distracting parts of the lower part of the picture. There's some trees and some freeway and some stuff in there that I just really didn't like. So those are what I was trying to kind of overcome with the processing.
Well, that's great. It's such a dramatic difference. Here, let's just do it this way. So before, you're right. I love the way that you cropped off the bottom. This is not needed. It's kind of like a story, like if you're writing a book. If it doesn't have something to pertain to the plot, then probably doesn't need to be in there. So cropping the bottom was a really great thing. And then, let's see, this one here, post-processing, you really brought out some of that beautiful color and nice saturation. It just comes to life. So really great job. And I love the car trails. That's great. Yeah.
I agree. You've taken a flat image and really added a lot of power to it. It's got the wow factor, and then the color contrast is beautiful. The car trails, the red, and the warm light of the city really adds to the twilight.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Did you use Color Effects Pro for the color?
I did. No, I actually I just use Photoshop and Lightroom on this one. I didn't use any plugins or any other things.
Okay. Wow, this is really, really nice. You got a little, almost a starburst up there. But yeah, really beautiful, nice colors. So great job, Dodge. Very good. Love it. Okay. All right, let's go. Mandy. Mandy's not with us, right? Did she pop in? No, she didn't. So I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to her if we have some time. I just want to make sure we get through everybody who's here first. And Carrie? Carrie's not here as well? Okay. But we got Brittany. I know we got Brittany. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take a look at her before image. Are these mallard ducks? I believe they're mallard ducks, females.
Yeah.
Probably? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take a look at the before, and this is her after. So go ahead and Brittany, tell us a little bit about what you did with your before image. Or the after?
What I did was I cleaned up the water off. That took about half an hour to get it all just pristine. And I didn't do a lot to it other than that. I bumped up the clarity and the vibrance and something else. I can't remember what else it was. But yeah, I didn't do a whole lot to it, but it was all done in Lightroom.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just mainly cloning out those spots in the water. And I think that made a huge difference.
Yes, it certainly does. If we look at the before image, these actually look almost like dust spots. So it's a good thing that you took the time to actually do that. Brittany, when you did the cleaning up of the dust spots, did you use Photoshop at all?
No,
There is a
no, just Lightroom.
Okay, I don't know about Lightroom, but I know in Photoshop they have the new ability to actually see the spots. Laurie, do you know about that?
No.
No, there is. In fact, maybe I'll try bringing it up. Do you guys mind if I just bring up Photoshop for a moment? And I'll show you, for those of you who have Photoshop, I'm not too sure about Lightroom, but
You mean
here,
an
let's just pull
ACR?
no, it's actually, here, let's see. I'm trying to remember. Let's get rid of this. Filter, lens correction, not under lens correction. Hold on. Shoot, now that I'm thinking about it. Where is it? Well, maybe it is under ACR.
Yeah, it's in Adobe Camera Raw.
Yeah, it is. And it's either one of these guys. Spot removal. See this little brush up here? And if you go down here to visualize spots, this is where you can, this is kind of a hard one to see, but see these little spots here? If they're dust spots, they're definitely round. But you just click on it and it gets rid of them. So that's kind of a new feature, I think, in the new Photoshop version. But that will remove your spots. It's just another way of doing that. So I don't know if you could see my Photoshop, but that's what happened there. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So it looks like you brought up some of the saturation, and now your ducks have that warm glow. It's so much better. And I love this little droplet off the beak. That's just beautiful. So Brittany, you did a kind of a
Yeah, I was really Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I was really pleased with that. As I was shooting, I saw that droplet come off the beak. I was like, yeah, I hope I got that one.
Yeah,
I really like that bit.
it's very cute. Adds a little bit more kind of whimsy to the image there. I love that, and the beautiful reflections. The colors are great. What was your thought behind doing a kind of a panoramic type of look here?
I prefer it, and I liked. I wanted them to sort of be like through the frame and still have somewhere to go, and it's very 2/3. Yeah, it's just really. I don't know. It's just the crop that came to mind when I saw that image.
Yeah, this would make a great banner, cover banner for your Google Plus or Facebook page. By the way, just a thought.
Yeah, a lot of room for text on the right side, so.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. Any thoughts from you, Laurie, at all?
I really like the cleanup job. Nice kudos on the dedication, because sometimes that can be frustrating. And on clear, smooth water, it can be really challenging, because this appears to be almost all the same color, and it isn't. So you did a great job there. I love that the heads are perfectly reflected, and I really love the pattern that they're creating. It adds a sense of motion. Your finishing job was great, and I like the panel idea. It like Laurie says, it's got a lot of use, especially in today's online stuff as banners, and it gives them a lot of room to tootle around in the photo.
Yep. That's
Good
great.
job.
Yeah. Anybody else want to?
Thank you. So I'm pretty proud of that one. Like with the cleaning up, because that's something that I haven't done before with water. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
Good. Now you know how to do it. Okay. Right. Any other comments here before we move on, or we're good? Okay. We're going to go ahead and choose somebody else here. Okay, let's take a look at David's. Now, this is basically we're a nature and wildlife, cohort here, but that doesn't mean that you can't include, other things as well. So we'll take a look at this image here. David, tell us a little bit about your model here.
Well, the model is actually my niece,
Oh.
and grad week. And she was getting all done up. It was the night of her grad party, so they had hair and makeup and dressing and everything, and asked me to come over and take a few pictures. So it was sort of show up with a bunch of gear and shoot a bunch of grad pictures in about 45 minutes.
Great. For free, right? Of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, no dinner. I get dinner out of it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, she's a beautiful girl. this is your before image here, and I mean, she's got this gorgeous smile, and of course, she's all done up. That's perfect time to take pictures of these young girls. Looks like you warmed her up a bit, and maybe what did you use, David, for post-processing on her?
Just about anything I could get my hands on.
Okay.
I think this is seen Lightroom for sure because I do all my raw processing in that.
Okay.
It's seen, I think, Viveza, sharpener, color effects, and a bunch of Lightroom stuff.
Okay.
I don't remember if this one's been through Max Fun or not.
Okay, so a little bit of everything, like you said. So it looks like you warmed her up. This is the before image. I'm having to go back and forth. I wish I could split the screen and just leave it there. I'm sorry. But it looks like you had warmed her up and probably smoothed her skin a bit. And I like the warming of it. Kind of adds kind of a softness to her. Her eyes are nice and sharp. You really brought out her lashes are beautiful. The only thing is I feel like she's almost, you got to be careful about smoothing skin too much so that it almost looks like it's plastic. And I see that's kind of happening down here. I like what's happening up here. You left a little bit of texture. She looks real, but if you look down by her chin, maybe don't do the skin softening too much down there. It's okay to leave it a little bit rough, just slightly, so it looks more natural. But I love how you brought out the catch light and her beautiful eyes and that warmth that you have. I might want to, it feels like this part over here on the left-hand side, probably, I don't know, but maybe you could move her over a little bit or something, but there's a lot of space here and she's kind of tilted to the right a little bit. So I don't know whether you want to crop in a little bit more there or pull back, not too sure, but certainly is a beautiful girl and you brought out her eyes and I like the warmth that you gave to her.
All right.
Okay.
I agree with you, Laurie. In camera, I think I would have liked to have either had her looking more over her shoulder if she were placed on the right side, so she was still looking into the frame, or move the camera so that she's more on the left looking in. And I do absolutely love what you've done to her skin. She just glows.
Yeah.
I bet she really loves this image.
There actually isn't very much done to her skin. I'm not sure if I even retouched it.
Well, just the changing in the color, the value of the.
Yeah, I see that.
Brought out her natural glow, I should say.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very, very nice. Anybody else have a comment on this one at all?
It's a beautiful portrait. Her eyes really pull you in.
Mm-hmm. Your eyes are beautiful.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good details. When did they shoot that at? Was that 1.8?
Let's take a look at that. 1, 2. Okay, so yeah, we've got looks like you're shooting with the D800, 70-200 at the 200 millimeter length there. 1/250th of a second, and then your aperture was set to 5. ISO is pretty low. So yeah. Very nice. Almost looks like you use like Glamour Glow. I'm going to bet that you might have done that.
No, that's a speed light and a reflector.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
It's got basically a clamshell set up, so there's a silver reflector just out of the camera underneath that I missed the aiming a little bit,
Okay.
or I would have filled her lower face a little better. But so I've got a 24-inch softbox almost right overhead, and then a reflector underneath going clamshell for it.
Okay. Well, it certainly brought out her eyes. Very, very nice. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, David. That's awesome. Very good. Okay, Tricia, let's take a look at your lion. This looks like this was your before. And let me make sure I get your after. And this one is in black and white. So, Tricia, go ahead and tell us why you decided to go black and white with this particular image.
Well, that was the one with the green tint in it from the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to get that out other than doing it black and white, so that's what I did.
Ah, okay. And so you took this, I see the green right here is what you're talking about, this green?
Right.
Okay, and then if we go to your black and white, of course that gets rid of all the color. You cropped in a little tighter too, which I actually like. The tighter crop is nice. So let's just go back again. I'm sorry, I'm having to go back and forth. But yeah, you cropped off the bottom just a bit and off the top.
Fix the blemish on his nose.
Yeah. Yeah, there was too much white on his back, so this cropping in is much, much better. Do you mind if I'm going to do I don't know if I can download this one, but I'm going to see if I can actually go in. Yeah, I'm going to save this image. If you don't mind, I'm going to do something with it. We're just going to take a little look. I'm going to take it into Photoshop because there's a couple things that you can do to get rid of the green tints. So let's go ahead and put this into Photoshop. All right, so we've got this in here. Let's see how big this image is. It's small, but I think we can still play with it. Okay, so Tricia, do you have Nik software, Mac Fun? Do you just use Lightroom, Photoshop?
I have Mac Fun, but I haven't gotten to work yet.
Okay. All right, so let's just start with Nik. I hope you folks can see this. If I go into Nik, I may have to switch back because it may not show up. Let's see, I'm going to go into... Let's just do color effects. I'll tell you when it comes up on the screen, and then you tell me whether you can see it. Can you see color effects up on the screen right now?
No.
Okay.
But I couldn't Photoshop either.
Okay, so then let's go. Yeah, I'm going to go back to screen sharing, and I'm going to switch over. Okay, so I am back, and now screen share again. Here, let's do it this way. Okay, now you should be able to see color effects. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. So a couple things that you can do with this. What I'll do is sometimes I'll use a white neutralizer. Let's just see if this helps at all. Maybe not that one. I'm going to have to play with this just for a little bit. Remove color cast. Nope. Okay, brilliance and warmth. Let me just play with this for a moment. Okay, maybe Vivesa might even be better. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of just taking out some of the color here, and then I go back and selectively just add this back in. But I think actually Vivesa is probably a better thing to play with on this one because it's actually a color issue. So let's see if I can bring up Vivesa here for a moment. And then you tell me whether you can see Vivesa. If not, I'll switch back. Can you see Vivesa up on the screen right now? Or is it Photoshop? Nope, okay.
Yeah, we see you.
Okay, I'm going to switch. And here we go. All right. So Vivesa is a very nice tool in that it allows you to either globally or selectively choose certain colors in your image, brightness, contrast, all these different things that are listed on the right-hand side of your screen. And you can use control points with these. And these control points, you simply click on this button, your cursor becomes a little dot. This is a control point. So what it's looking for are similar things that are on the right-hand side underneath this dot, this control point right here, okay? See all these things up on these sliders? And I'm going to mask, I'll show you the mask so you can actually see what's happening here. But this bottom slider will increase or decrease that area that you want to make adjustments to. So I'm going to pull back the greens. A couple ways I can do this is I can take the green down by just clicking the slider. You don't want it too much, but I can actually take out the green by moving it down, or maybe taking down the saturation just a bit. See that? So this area, if I click on the mask down here, you can see it's actually just looking for that green area here, this white. So I'm able to actually pick out just those colors and remove them. So that's kind of a really nice little feature there. And then I can take this control point and maybe duplicate it. It looks like this is the green from the background. That's probably not a bad thing. So I can leave it there. I can also pull up maybe reds. I'm trying to get a brown, more of a brown color here. So, and I can duplicate this point over here on the right. Do you see what's happening there? Just taking out some of those greens. And it looks a little bit red to me too, so I might just pull back the reds just a bit. Maybe add some contrast. So just playing with this a little bit can, take out those greens, and then you don't have to worry about that. And this is just really kind of quick what I just did there. So let's take a look at before and after. I can show you a split screen in fact. Let's do this one here. There you go. So on the left is before and on the right is after. So I would just play a little bit more with toning down some of the areas here a bit, but you can see the green is now taken away. So Tricia, does that help a little bit?
That helps a lot. I've never really used this filter. I have it, but I really haven't haven't done much with it, so that's very helpful.
Yeah, so Vivase is great on doing those kind of things, and using the control points are really, really helpful. So, but
I love your use of it as a color cast removal, so to speak,
yes,
in a selective manner.
right.
If I might make one suggestion, and I love that you did that on this anyway, because I learned something even. The first thing I would have done on this image, if you were going to go with your crop, is I would crop it first, so that you're not doing work on places that you're going to crop out anyway.
Right. So
that makes sense. So that would have been the first thing on any image. If I'm going to crop, I typically will crop the image first, and then that way I'm not lured into cloning or color correcting or doing any kind of work in an area that's going to end up being cut out.
right, exactly. That's a very, very good point. So, you know,
Can we talk about that for a second?
I'm sorry?
Can we talk about cropping for a second?
Absolutely.
I don't crop initially because I don't necessarily know what size my image is ultimately going to be.
Mm.
And so I know some aspects of things that aren't going to be there, but I always wait to do my cropping so that I'm free to do whatever I feel like doing size-wise,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I know it can be an issue sometimes with a histogram, but I sort of take that into account in my head when I'm working an image. What happens if you crop an image to 8 by 11 and you end up needing to print at 11 by 17, for instance?
Yeah.
Or a big.
Right. Yeah.
Can I?
Yes.
What is the use for your images? Why are you deciding later what size? What is it that's the impetus to decide what size at all?
Sales.
Okay, so you get somebody that says, I love that photo, but I'd like an 8 by 12, not an 8 by 10.
Or, well, I kind of predetermine sizes to some extent, but if I'm going to end up with a canvas, then I need that extra space for the wrap.
Mm. Well, I mean, that's a good point. I think everybody's a little bit different. If you know exactly what it's going to be as an end result, then that's easy. You know, you have the size. But for someone like you who may have something that's being printed on a canvas or in a book, you know, these are different sizes. Probably your workflow of working big and then cropping it down later might work best for you, for your situation. So everybody's a little bit different. I try to work big, but I always like to crop in like Laurie does because I want to work within that ratio. And again, especially like when I'm using control points or things like that, I can get certain areas a little bit better if I'm cropped in a little bit more. But it's a very good question.
Yeah, and that's assuming that you know your aspect ratio ahead of time, whether you're going to, you know, what your end result. Typically, when I'm working, I'm determining all that, so that makes a big difference. My end result is based, well, and it's not always, because if you're in a book or somewhere, but, so that's very valid. So then, in your case, yeah, you would work everything else, clone things out, work it, and then, depending on the output.
And sometimes I've gone back to an image later and looked at it and gone, how could I have ever cropped it that way? You know, and do a whole new crop, but at least I don't have to rework the whole thing. It just makes me feel a little freer.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the beauty of this. You can do it whatever way works for you. I love it.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
But a lot of do crop. That's why I asked the question.
I'm sorry?
A lot of people do crop up front.
Yes,
That's
they do.
why I asked the question.
Right. Yeah.
I think more people do than don't.
You're probably right. Yeah, I would think that you are probably right on that. Okay. Alrighty, so let's see here. So Jayne, let's take a look at the horses here. Okay, so this is the before image.
Right.
And then we're going to look at the after image. Okay, go ahead and tell us a little bit about this.
I shot this in the Camargue, and there were horses running everywhere. There was no way I was going to be able to use that picture as it was. Mm-hmm. But I loved that mane and that look in his eyes. So I needed to figure out what I could do. It never struck me as a color image for some reason. And I've kind of been moving more to, black and whites and sepia tones anyway. So I cleaned up the image in color and then started working with Silver Effects Pro 2. Mm-hmm. With certain kinds of images, I either love to go much lighter around the edges or very dark. And in this image, although it took a lot of time with all that mane, as soon as I went to Silver Effects Pro, and yes, I used the antique plate.
Right.
Okay, that really was my starting point. Mm-hmm. I think that it's sometimes hard to use some of those presets as just a starting point. I think it's really easy sometimes to just fall into a particular preset and then the whole world knows what you've done. So I started with the antique plate. And again, on this one, I didn't crop until the end. Now, I removed part of the horse, the second horse, as I was going along. So I had a sense of, where I was going. I got rid of the shadow and his muzzle, pretty quickly. And then I started, I know I used Define at least once, because when you start playing around with the presets, you can start to get noise. And then I ended up in Silver Effects Pro 2 or 3 times. First for the antique plate, then I used some of the Photoshop adjustment tools along the way, exposure, QSAT, that kind of thing, and levels and curves. Because as the color tones changed, so did the contrast. Right. So I was constantly playing with that. And then I ended up actually with 2 versions of this. One that had sort of more of a sepia feel to it, but not heavy, and then one that was more black and white. And along the way, I also had to warm up the image a little bit because it had gotten too cool. Right. So I was always kind of fiddling around.
Yeah. This reminds me of Art Wolf's image of that horse with the mane that flies up like this. I don't know if you are familiar with that one, but it reminds me of his. It's a beautiful image. Yeah. This is very artistic, fine art type print here that you've done. And I like that it was converted into black and white, and certainly, the antique plate and adding some, nice white vignette around the edges was very creative as well. My eye goes right to his eye, right there. But there's that beautiful, movement that's happening in his mane. So very interesting crop that you did here too, cutting out this other horse as well, and just kind of really tightening in on this area here. It's quite dramatic. So
well, it was the head shot and the positioning of the head and the mane in the first horse that really was of interest.
Oh yeah, it's very powerful looking. Yeah.
I think that you captured there, Jayne Mizell would call gesture. The horse has got this amazing amount of gesture right there in the positioning of his head and the downturn and the curve.
Right. studied with him a little bit.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Wow.
The one thing that I think is an issue with the image, which somewhere along the line I'll go back and play with, is that the dark area underneath his jawline, it's a little too dark. But it was a lot of work. I wasn't going back again.
Is this going in one of your books?
No.
No.
But I've been in a couple of competitions and juried exhibitions.
Cool. Oh, very good. Yeah, very creative. That's great. Okay, fantastic. Let's see here. Oh, and you have a little dog here too that you put here as well. So another black and white conversion. King Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful little dog. So this is your before, and this is your after. That's lovely. Yeah. So, what was the reason behind converting this to black and white?
I think that the black and white made her look more stately and more elegant. I've done it. I've kept it in red sometimes, but also done the black and white. I think the black and white is more striking. Yeah. But it really was. I mean, that was a simple, fairly simple conversion. I probably put a little glamour glow or soft focus in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But when I shot it, I mean, the background was pretty neutral anyway.
Yeah. Well, she's an adorable dog. Either one, very cute. That's great. Very nice.
And I think it's really hard to photograph elderly dogs and have them look vibrant and alive.
Yeah.
So that was what I really liked about this image.
Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. Okay, let's see. Catherine's not here. We're going to take a quick look at hers, though. We're going to look at her before and after and just kind of take a look. This is her before image. Looks like she had a nice cloudy day, but it was a little bit dark down here. Perhaps it was the sun wasn't quite lighting the valley floor just yet. And here she probably used some kind of detail extractor to bring out some of the details in her shadowed areas. I think that's great that she brought it out. It feels a little bit... maybe she could tone it down just a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm switching back and forth. It seems to be extra kind of sharp there. But I like her idea of being able to recover some of those detailed areas in the dark area. And even above in the clouds, nothing's totally blown out, which is good. So, what do you think on this one, Laurie?
I like how she's brightened up the foreground. It's really nice. I think I'd actually like to see the sky brought down a little bit. I think it would add more drama to it and a little bit more color saturation in the clouds, the separation between the clouds and the sky. But I love what she's done on the foreground as far as bringing up a lot more information. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Anybody else have any comments on this one?
I really like the puffiness in those clouds and the way they felt like they were moving.
Yeah, I like the color in them too. But yeah, Laura, you're right. I think if she toned this down just a little bit, that would draw your eye more into the picture too. So, yeah, that's great. Okay, and then we had one more up here. Let's see. Oh, this was Mandy's. So let's see if we can... Does she have two here? It looks like she might have had two. Let's take a look at this one for a moment. Oh, two photos. Oh, I guess this is...
This was her composite with the 4 pictures.
Oh.
Yeah, it shows the one with all 4. That's kind of neat because she posted each individual photo that she used to create this.
There you go. Okay, so 2 photos there and 2 photos here. So let's just take a look. Here's her 4 original photos. So she's got the Milky Way here and then this tent. So everybody sees that. And then her final image, it looks like this one here. So blending 4 of them together. That's awesome. Good for her.
Yeah.
Wow, very creative. Very good.
In her one post, she showed 4 different shots. So she had, this tent is individual. That's the one. Oh, you can see here on this one. So the tent she pulled out of the one on the right and the fire from the left. Oh, and then there's the other two. And then I don't remember which of the two Milky Way. I think maybe she blended two together to get that curve.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really nice job.
Yeah, that's great. Well, there you go. You can composite too. That's great. Yeah, definitely. Be creative. Fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of talent in this group. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Well, this is fantastic. I really appreciate everybody doing this little extra bonus assignment here. I think it's kind of good to break it up once in a while. In fact, we have another little thing. I'm going to go back into our communities for a second. Well, actually, I'm right here. Let's see. So we've got before and after. So there's the Masters Challenge. And this is something where each master can kind of choose what they want to challenge their cohorts. And so I came up with the this one here, which is Masters Challenge, Letters in Nature. So the next assignment for those of you who have already done your new works will be going to this one, level 6, in which you take your name and try to find something in nature as natural as possible and not arranged. This is just an example of the name Susan. But I think it's a really good challenge because it has you really open up your eyes and see around you and think about like zebra stripes or maybe the wrinkles in a rhino or a flower. It's anything in nature where you can find these letters. And I know some of you folks have longer names than others, so that's extra credit there. But I think this is a really good challenge just to get out there and get your macro lens out if you have a macro lens or even your telephoto and just walk around. I've been to zoos before where I just took a macro with me and did the whole alphabet. And that's a real challenge too because you always want to photograph the animals, but zoom in and get textures. And I think that's what we're looking for here. So good luck on your next level 6 for those of you who are ready to go for that one. Okay.
Looks like a fun challenge.
Yeah. It's what? I'm sorry?
I was just saying, hopefully it's just our first names, not our last names.
Oh, just the first name. Yes, that would be bad. So, yeah, that's great. So
you're complaining about Dodge, all the letters and yours are the same.
Yeah, that's right. Who's got the longest one? Brittany, do you have the longest name here?
Mm-hmm. I've got 8 letters.
But you know what? You've got 2 T's. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so
I'm worried
much.
about finding a B.
Oh, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank Laurie for joining us today and for her wonderful comments and for each of you folks for posting your befores and afters. Just a fantastic job and looking forward to more of your images and seeing what you come up with on your name and any new works that you might have to do. So continue getting out there and really appreciate each and every one of you very much. Okay.
Thanks, Laurie.
Okay. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good
Thanks.
night.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.